Welcome to my podcast. My name is Corrinala, and I come to you from the Pacific Northwest, where I live with my husband, 2 horses that I adopted from the Bureau of Land Management Wildhorse Adoption Program, and 2 kitties we adopted from the local animal shelter. Information about these adoption programs will be in the show notes for every episode. The purpose of this podcast is to share real-life stories that hopefully are relatable to other crafters who might be interested in horses. The format of this podcast starts with a walk to the barn to feed the horses, catch up on the week, share my knitting projects, and other interests like bicycling or hiking. I also talk about vegetable gardening and cooking. I hope you bring your favorite beverage and a fun, crafty project to work on. Enjoy! Good morning, friends. Let's see if I have the right setting on my camera this morning. The mistake I made last week was I pressed photo instead of video, so my introduction was really short. Happy Friday. It is Friday, July 3rd, 2026. As you can see, maybe here, it is raining, which I don't mind at all. We've had a week of kind of clouds and rain. I took some time off. We had planned to go up to Canada and ride bikes with friends. However, a series of events caused us to cancel, and I decided to keep my scheduled time off. And since the weather was what it was, I got a lot of knitting done, which is great. So once we get to the knitting portion of this episode, I will have a fair number of things to share, including a finished object. I also started a 4-week rehabilitation program with Odin, and today will be day 5 of the first week. And so far, I'm pretty pleased with how things are helping him. He seems like he's a lot stronger. He's understanding how to use his body better to help support joints that need support because they have been getting arthritic from years and years of improper use. I assume Bragi's in his stall. It's hard to see. Morning, O. And I want to share that here locally there was a horse, a Mustang, that went missing for 11 days, I think. The horse lost its rider on a mountain north of here, pretty popular area for trail riding. There was a massive search, and the horse was recovered. He was fine. He's going to fully recover. Hi, Bragi. So that is super happy news. That kind of had me glued to social media for a while. So I'm going to get to feeding, and I'll talk to you soon. Hello, friends. Welcome to the knitting portion of this podcast. You will notice that I am wearing my Staffin Lite. This is my only finished object this week. So I'm trying to scoop my chair back. I like it. It seems a little bit big for me, and that is something that I constantly struggle with, is trying to find the right size. I feel like my size is like between 2 sizes in a lot of knitting patterns. Probably better too big than too small, because I will at least wear something that's too big. So I just wanted to share some of the detail. There's some ribbing, there's some lace that could be baubles, there's this diamond pattern. So it was a really fun knit. This pattern's by Rebecca Clow, also known as the Crayabea. And this was knit out of the same yarn that I crocheted my wedding shawl, which I brought up for comparison purposes. So even though it's raining out, it's fairly warm, which is why I don't have any sleeves on. So I think these will go nicely together. So if I need to have something just slightly warmer, which could happen this afternoon, we may go out to dinner tonight. So I could wear this. My other solution to things that are too big is just wear it as a layering piece and wear a tank top underneath it, which I think I could wear either a navy blue or a red tank top under this, and it would go very nicely. Hope you have something nice to drink as you, and a crafty project to work on as well. So, like I said in the introduction, had a staycation, so I have a lot of knitting projects to catch up, and I'm just going to start with the blanket, the 100-acre wood blanket. I didn't get a ton of progress done on this, but I did get some done on it, and I feel like I haven't shown it in a while. So this is a minor square blanket by K.F. Jones, and I am on the, looks like the 5th stripe. And each square takes about 3 grams of yarn, so you can use up your very small pieces. And this is what I have been working on so far. So I've got this one done the day before yesterday, and I'm not sure about the other ones. I know that this is a knit pick stroll. Not sure what I used it in, likely socks, but I'm not sure. The square I just cast on is from the West Yorkshire Spinners, the leftover yarn that I had from the perfect colorwork socks that I made by Charlotte Stone that I finished recently. Oh, that was one thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to show you my sock stash as well. So, but let's get through these projects, and if I forget, we'll do it next time. Forgot this bag is made by my mom. So just a simple drawstring bag that holds that blanket very nicely. This bag, this is a prototype made by my husband on his industrial sewing machine, and it is perfect for the scrappy socks that I'm making. These are a pattern by Sofia Carlson, Sofia's Tales. So the link to the pattern is in my show notes. And this, it's a broken rib sock, and this is made from some repurposed yarn. I was knitting some socks, some over the knee socks that ended up being way too big, so I ripped them out. And this is what this first sock is starting to look like. It'll be interesting to see what the second sock looks like. I'm not anticipating that it matches. And this is that little pop of color technique that I learned at Fiber Fusion Northwest a couple of weeks ago, where you hold 2 strands of yarn as you cast on. And what this does is it gives you a pop of color if you want it, or you could use the same color yarn if you didn't want that pop of color. And you don't have to measure out the length of yarn for a long tail cast on because you have the 2 strands. So you just knit forward. That part is great. I used Chowgu red lace, size 0. I'll show you the pattern. This was a mystery knit along from, I want to say it was around 2023. And it's called Sofia's Tales Sock Mystery Knit Along. And you can use So here's the pattern. Probably available on Ravelry, and there's a couple different yarn options you can use. Make sure I don't pull any needles out. This one looks like it was getting dangerously close. And this little, whoops, beginning of round marker that's not cooperating. I got that at Fiber Fusion last year. So little morel mushrooms, which unfortunately don't agree with me, as I found out at my birthday dinner. What else? I have a whole bunch to show you. I believe I showed you this last time. I had just cast it on. This is the Practically Perfect socks in this bag made by my mom. The pattern is by KF Jones, and this is for her summer of stitching. And when you saw it last, I just had this little pop of color cast on and maybe one row done. Well, I had an adventure on public transportation yesterday, so I got all of this done yesterday. So since I was on staycation, I agreed to meet a friend of mine for lunch. She's a teacher and has just gotten out of school. And we've known each other for over 40 years. I remember when her oldest son was born. So I'm trying to get my stitches, or my stitches on my needles so they don't fall off. So these are 9-inch circulars or Chagu twists, which is an interchangeable set, and these are US size 1. So I knit the small size when I use a larger needle like this. And you can see this kind of cool lace pattern. So anyway, because I love at least the idea of public transportation, it doesn't always work out that great. I got to the bus 30 minutes early yesterday. I hear someone coming in the driveway, and I know the chimney sweep is coming. So Randy's home today. He's going to take care of it, but I just wanted to let you know in case you hear any noises. So let me finish my tale of public transportation. I love public transportation, especially when I have to go somewhere where there's a lot of traffic. And I agreed to meet my friend down in the north end of Seattle yesterday. So I got to the bus stop 30 minutes ahead of time, accidentally. I thought the bus ran every 30 minutes. It does during high peak traffic times, but after that, it runs hourly. So I was on the wrong part of the hour. So I waited, and it was no big deal. Got on the bus, got on the train. Going south always works out just fine for me. Got on the light rail, got to my destination, had lunch with my friend. It was really great to catch up with her. We only catch up about once a year. And then getting back is always a little bit more challenging. Light rail runs every 8 to 10 minutes, so that is super convenient, and there's 2 trains that run in the direction that I want to go, so that's awesome. But then getting to the bus station, which is still, it's an hour-long bus ride once I exit light rail. So there's an hour-long bus ride, and then there's the time between buses arrive, and then there's traffic. So my friend and I parted ways after, I don't know, say 2:30ish, and I caught the train like 2:35. Well, I get to the bus station, and there's no bus for at least 45 minutes to the direction that I want to go. There's another bus that goes at least part of the way. So I hopped on that one knowing I could connect with another bus further up the road, and that just seemed like kind of progress. Well, traffic was terrible yesterday, and I'm sure part of it was because it's a long weekend, and I'm sure part of it is because it was raining yesterday, and you would think people in the Pacific Northwest knew how to drive in the rain, but I don't know. There's a lot of people who come to the Seattle area from other places that don't have this kind of weather and maybe don't recall that if it's been dry for a while and when it first rains, it's very slippery. It's almost icy. There's just like this grease that's on the road that can be very slippery, and there's always accidents. So anyway, that is why I got a lot of knitting done. So I left North Seattle at about 2:30. I got home around 5:30 yesterday. So lots of knitting time. I think I got a total of over 40 rows done yesterday on the bus. I don't know what I would have done if I wasn't a knitter. I mean, what do people do? I mean, I see a lot of people on their phones, and I listen to podcasts and stuff like that, but I don't want to be messing around on my phone for that long. Maybe people do. I don't know. But that's that project. I think the other two projects that I have to show you, no, I'm going to show you, because I have two cast-ons, but I want to show you the progress that I have made on the sock arms cardigan, which is now a pullover. So here's the actual bag that Randy intended to make for me based on the prototype. So this is made from his industrial sewing machine. And I'm pleased to report, I have made some progress on the sock arms cardigan. I probably have, I just threw the row counter on the floor. And this is going to be another oversized sweater, which was kind of intentional. I say with a certain amount of uncertainty. So I probably have maybe another 20 rows left. So if you're new here, I ripped out the body all the way up to where I joined, where this is supposed to be a cardigan, but I decided to join it in the round because I noticed when I had the body all finished that the yarns were two different colors. So I have been helically knitting, and you can still see a difference between, at least I can, this part and this part. This is a much colder blue, so they're the same Snip Picks gloss, and the colorway is Clarity. However, I bought I bought the balls of yarn at different times, so I think I'm just going to go with this. And the collar is going to be I was thinking about alternating the collar between the blue, and then this is Jeepers Creepers by Freckled Whimsy. That's what I think I'm going to do, is I may alternate the ribbing around the collar between these two. So I don't have, because my last ball of yarn is definitely this colder blue. So, and I don't want it to be a huge difference between this. So I am hoping that when I'm done, it all blends together. And I might start that soon, because I do have needles available for the ribbing. It's just, sometimes it's nice to do something other than just the stocking it round and round, and it's nice to see what it looks like. So let's talk about the new cast-ons, shall we? So this is an old purse that I have turned into a project bag. It's perfect for socks, which is what is in here, of course. I had a pattern from Knit Picks that is 2 at a time socks. Toe up 2 at a time socks on one needle. So this is what 2 at a time toe up magic loop socks. That is the name of the pattern. I have it linked in my show notes if you are interested in this. I don't normally knit toe up socks, so this was doing Judy's magic cast on was a little bit of a challenge for me. I am using some leftover self-striping yarn, so I can get 2 pairs of socks out of one ball of yarn, 100 gram skein yarn. So first of all, because I split the ball, the socks are going in, the striping pattern is going in 2 different directions, which I don't mind at all. So one thing I have learned about Judy, and I've done this before, I just don't do it often enough to remember, is that you do Judy's magic cast on, and then you can start knitting inside out. And that's what I did. And then I realized it and I started going in the other direction. So I have a little bit of a garter toe, or yeah, reverse stockinette is what I have here. Okay. So just more practice. I'm trying to show. So basically what you do is you knit 1 ball of yarn, you drop that yarn, and then you knit the other ball of yarn, go around the magic loop to the other side, continue knitting that ball of yarn, drop it, and then knit the first ball of yarn. So it's pretty easy to keep track of it. I haven't had a problem with it. I mean, I did at this morning, actually. I almost accidentally started continuing to knit with the first ball of yarn on the second sock. But luckily I caught it in time, like within just a few stitches. So that was easy to do. There is some shuffling around of balls of yarn, which hasn't been a big issue. So it's just been fun, a fun technique. So here are the 2. So I just took this ball off of this one. So this was a 50-gram skein or ball of leftovers, and I just wound off 25 for that ball. So hopefully I have enough yarn. It doesn't seem like it, but like I said, my socks are usually just under 50 grams. So hopefully, if not, I have plenty of scraps that I can add to it. The second cast on is in this bag. This bag was made by a friend of mine who helped me on my knitting journey quite a bit. And yeah, I really enjoy using this bag. So I have talked about this project for a while. This is a crochet pattern out of a 2012 magazine. It is called the Vernal top. So it is this one right here, and it has this fun scallop. So it's knit in 2 pieces. So you knit one side, or crochet, you knit crochet a front side and a back side, which are exactly the same. And it's this kind of, let me tell you this is what it looks like. This is cotton yarn. My, what's the cardigan called? It's also by Rebecca Clow that I made. I'm not thinking of it right now. Actually, I can look it up really quick because I have Ravelry open. Well, I did. Stand by. Hold, please. Okay. Okay. Oh, the chimney guy just walked right by my window. It's called the Corran cardigan, C-O-R-R-A-N. So I had plenty of yarn, so now I am knitting this top. If I were to compare this to knitting, I would call it, I don't know, I keep thinking of like seed stitch. So where you alternate knits and purls, and this you alternate double and single crochets in the American definitions, stitch definitions. So this is a front or a back, and it's been fun. It uses 3 different crochet hook sizes. I'm using a size H for the main. There's one bigger and then one smaller for the other pieces of it. The yarn is a Knit Picks. It's called Kotlin, and it is a DK weight. So that's that project. That is really all that I have for projects, but I did want to show you my my sock stash. So let me grab that. Okay, so I keep my sock stash. These are finished socks. I keep it in this shoebox, and I haven't really dug into this in quite a while. So let's just go through these. So these are lemon top socks. These recently finished. These are the Perfect Socks by Charlotte Stone. These are by KF Jones. This is a recently finished pair by Summer Lee. These are the Surf Wax socks. So self-striping, these are going to be Freckled Whimsy. This is a pair of scrappy socks I made, I think, last year, and I don't remember what the pattern is. Probably a K. Jones pattern is my guess. Pair of Christmas socks I made. These are the strong heel socks. I really enjoy knitting this heel. You can see it's kind of a ribbed heel. It's hard to see in this pattern, but hopefully you can see it. I want to say this yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners. This is a Woolen Women, and I don't recall. I feel like I knit these out of the 52 Weeks of Socks. These are the Ooey Gooey socks by Andrea Mowry Colorwork socks. So the reason why I'm showing you these is I think I'm going to put them in my sock drawer. I'm going to start wearing them. There's another pair of the strong heel socks. I can't remember what the actual pattern name is. I just picked it up for a pair of socks that I'm planning on starting once I get some needles free. And this is a Legacy Fiber Arts colorway from one of their advents. It's like Santa's Workshop or something like that. Or no, I think it's the Christmas Lights Repair Shop is what this colorway is called. This is a pair I knit from, this is a Polka Dot Creek club yarn. It came with, I think, 9 minis, and this came out of 52 Weeks of Socks, although I do not remember the pattern name. 3 more. This is Woolen Women. Denim and Daisies colorway. You can see in this sock pattern came with the yarn set. And I think I'm down to the final 2. So this was a Hue Loco colorway sock set based on some sort of a chicken, breed of a chicken, and I do not remember which pattern this is. It looks like the Broken Rib pattern that I am currently knitting, so it could be. And then this is a KF Jones. This pattern was based on their trip to Holy Island last year. So these are all going to go in my sock drawer, and I will start refilling it. So I have lots of socks in my sock drawer. Some I'm starting to give away. Pardon me while I pick up stuff that I dropped. So a row counter. I think this is for, yeah, this is for the sock arms sweater. And then a needle, which I think is from the blanket. So this is an Addie's Flexi Flip. I think these are 2.75 millimeter needles. Okay, what else is going on? So let me just get my notes here. That is pretty much all the knitting. So if you were here for that, that's my yarn closet right there, in case you're wondering. I'm expecting some yarn to come in this week that I bought from Fiber Fusion, and I plan on casting on, I think the Tolsta tee, also by Rebecca Clow. Just horse stuff. I did take a video of Odin on day 2 of that 4-week stifle strengthening program I mentioned during the introduction, or the walk to the barn. I let my editing software subscription expire. It wasn't intentional, but it wasn't unintentional either. If you're new here, I started out this podcast on my iPhone. Then Randy, my husband, bought me a GoPro, which I haven't quite figured out how to import videos from GoPro onto my phone to edit in iMovie, which I really prefer. It's a very simple program to use. So I bought a subscription, and my computer's not a Mac or an Apple product. It's a Surface, so it's a Windows product. And I haven't found an editing program that I really like so much. But I used this other program for quite a while, learned a lot about editing, which I don't enjoy, quite honestly. All that to say, I went back to recording on my iPhone for some reason in the last 6 months, I would say. And I enjoy the simplicity of it. However, I cannot, or I haven't at least taken the time to figure out how to get the footage that I take from GoPro, which what I started to say. I videoed my workout, or Odin's workout, just for comparison purposes, but I wanted to share some of that with you. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to do that. My plan is to video him once a week. So I can load it up to YouTube, but it's going to be unedited footage and probably pretty dull. So I'm not planning on putting any of you through that unless you ask me to. So what I wanted to do is just do like a sped up version of it. So once I figure out how to do that, I will add it to a video and hopefully have kind of a nifty before and after. I've already noticed a difference in how he moves. We did some trot sets yesterday and he seemed okay with that. So we did it on the lawn out here, so softer than any other ground we have available. And that seemed to work out just fine. Other than that, Randy and I did some bicycling last weekend. We rode a converted rail to trail up into Bellingham, which is north of here, and had lunch in town and then rode back, and it was great. And other than that, the other highlight I mentioned earlier, it was the Mustang that was lost that lost its rider, was out for 11 days. I think it may have still had its saddle on for that entire time, but it was probably, the horse is going to be losing weight without regular feeding, although there is some forage available out there. But I think it turned upside down at some point. But thankfully the rescuers found him, He had made himself a little home in the forest, and the rescuers were able to find him and bring him out and bring him to his owner. So that captured my attention on social media. So if you're interested, you can look up, I was trying to think, it was on several kind of groups, like Snohomish Equines, Skagit Breaking. I'll try to find a link to it and put it in my show notes if you are interested in the saga of this. So I'm just so happy that the horse is reunited with his owner. His owner was so happy to see him, so relieved. It's very rugged terrain out there, so it was hard to find this horse. And thankfully, all is well. I had a couple bad dreams about it, but I am so happy that horse and owner are back together again. And with that, I bid you a fond farewell. Have a great weekend, and I go back to work next week, so I have to figure out how to do Odin's daily PT. It's 6 days a week, and it's about 45 minutes. So I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do that on the office days. I'm either going to ask for some grace and not come in for several weeks, 3 more weeks, which is probably fine, or I will go in late. So I'll try to figure that out. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time.